This is the Royal Enfield Classic 350 and it's a bike I've wanted to review since it first came out, and we're very lucky to be one of the first in the UK to get the official bike. Of course, there's reviews of this bike on the internet, which you've probably seen from different countries, but not so many in the UK. So now let's find out what this bike is like. The bike comes in many different colours, some really lovely colours actually. This one starts at £4,279 and some of the colours are a little more expensive at £4,439. Personally, I like the red with the chrome one, that looks beautiful. So go onto Royal Enfield's website and you can look through all the different colours and the prices. So what you really want to know is what this bike is like to ride. And I can tell you, it's absolutely fantastic. It has so much character. This 350cc air-stroke oil-cooled engine, is brilliant. I mean, it is absolutely amazing. It's got a lot of character. It makes a lovely sound. On the deceleration, it sort of pops and burbles. Accelerating, it sounds magnificent, and it really is great. With only 20.2 horsepower and 27 newton meters of torque, you wouldn't think it has very much oomph, but it's got plenty in the real world. And this bike is an absolute hoot to ride. If you're just exploring the countryside or commuting in the towns, the cities, wherever you're going like that, it's wonderful because it's very manoeuvrable, but not at all twitchy. So the handling, the geometry of this bike is spot on. It really is absolutely fantastic. I'll go into that a bit more later. But as a bike to just ride around, it is fantastic, I can tell you. And I'm so impressed with it. It's just one of the best bikes I've ever ridden. The gear change is very positive, very good. You've got 5 gears on this. The clutch has a perfect feel to it. You've got a cable clutch and a cable throttle, and you get a direct contact with the bike, which I really like. So there's no electronic gizmos and stuff on this. It's a very simple bike. You don't have to have modes. Your mode is your throttle hand, and that is just what you need. And I've been over some difficult terrain with sort of slippery gravel in the roads and wet leaves and stuff, and the bike handles it all perfectly. It's so well designed. I love the handling on this. It really is brilliant. And whether you're riding in the city, the countryside, weaving in and out of traffic, going out for a joyride just for the sheer fun of it, this bike will just lap it up. And not many bikes I would want to do hundreds of miles on, and this isn't built for that. But because it's such a nice bike, I'd be happy to strap a few things on the back and go off 300-mile ride, say going camping somewhere, and take your time, enjoy the ride. It will do 70 miles an hour, but you'd probably want to cruise along at 60. But when you get there, you're on a Royal Enfield Classic, and you would enjoy every minute of exploring where you've chosen to go. And I can't think of another bike or many other bikes that I'd want to do that on. Now, where I've been riding around, there's some quite mucky roads today, and I haven't cleaned the bike since I came back because I thought it's quite important to see what you end up with after a dirty ride. And this bike's actually quite clean. These mud guards come all the way around, and they're metal, and there's only a little bit of mud from there downwards, and the engine, the frame, the exhausts, the tank are all clean, and I'm clean, I'm not covered in mud. And that's important because if you're riding a bike in the real world, you don't want to be caked in mud and have 2 hours worth of cleaning trying to get all the muck out of the cylinders and what have you, or the radiator. And on the Triumph Bonnevilles, that's very much the case. The little mud guard at the front just puts all the muck onto the bike, and they are difficult to clean. And on the back here, you've just got a little bit of mud on the chain guard, but most of it's been caught by the mudguards or the fenders, and they're very effective indeed. Just looking at the bike style wise, you've got these lovely fork covers, which I like, all metal, solid, nice solid mudguard, and beautiful chrome wheels and spokes. Love spokes. Single disc brake, the stopping power is perfectly good. Got a lovely chrome exhaust, pea shooter exhaust. This bike's got quite a few accessories on, and see if you can spot them. The screen being one of them, and this guard down here being another, and there's a few others. This rack on the back, again, that's an accessory, but it's the best designed rack on a motorcycle I've ever seen, because you've got this little area here, and with my tripod I could slot one leg into there and secure it on there with a bungee. So if you've got a bit of luggage and a few difficult things to carry, it will go on there, no problem whatsoever. This engine is very beautiful to look at, as well as being very good as an engine. And the whole bike is still very classic, even though it's brand new. And of course, without the seat and the thing here, and the screen and the accessories, it looks more minimalistic and, in my opinion, looks better. This guard underneath here, although it serves a very good practical purpose, it would look better in black because you don't really want to see it. It's not the most beautiful thing, but you've also got a centre stand, which is great to have. So if you're oiling your chain or washing the bike, you can spin the wheel, no problem at all. And you've got a nice side stand as well, and both stands work very well indeed. Now, me being 6'2", how do you think I look on the bike? Riding it, it feels fine, no problem whatsoever. It's very comfortable. I like the riding position. I probably look big on it, but then you've got to say to yourself, does that matter? My feet are flat on the floor, of course. If I was, say, from 5'5" to 5'10", like most bikes, I'd be the perfect height for it. But at 6'2", I feel it's perfectly all right. And let's just put it on the side stand. I've got a bit of an issue with sort of size of bikes. So I love big bikes, but sometimes the big heavy Harleys and things are so cumbersome at slow speeds or manoeuvring. So a bike like this, you don't have that problem at all, because it's very manoeuvrable and very confidence inspiring. The suspension is really good. These bikes get tested and in the process of pre-production, ridden all over the Himalayas and all sorts of places like that. So they're very good on bumpy roads, and the farm track leading down to this property here is very bumpy and unmade in most places, and this bike just handles it with no problem whatsoever. And I felt I could go along quite fast, quite confidently. And there's a dog. She likes to get in the shot, this dog. Very confident. Now, I had a Honda CRF 250 RX a little while back, which I bought for sort of green laning around here. But I sold it after a while because I wasn't enjoying it. And one of the main reasons why I wasn't enjoying it was because the engine was so peaky. It produced all its power way high up the rev range, like 10,000, 11,000 RPM, something crazy like that. And when you're trail riding, you just want to burble along. And if it had this engine in it, it'd be the best trail bike on the planet. So this bike itself, as it is with road tyres, handled the slippery, bumpy stuff, no problem whatsoever. And with sort of trials tyres or something like that on it, you'd find you can go anywhere. Now, just running through the things you have here, you've got a nice little switch on the side here, the starter switch, which is nice. It's a little dial, and you've got a hazard light. That's it. On the other side, you've got your lights on a rotary dial as well, indicators which don't self-cancel. Be careful, make sure you cancel them. A hooter and a little button on the front which scrolls through a few things on the menu here. You've got a lovely analog speedometer. I'm a massive fan of analog. I don't like digital dials or TFT screens and all that computery stuff. I don't want to spend time looking at what looks like a phone on your motorbike. When you get home, you look at your phone. You don't want to look at it on a motorbike. So it's nice to have a beautiful outlook on a motorcycle, which is what I love about my R18. It's art in the view ahead, and this is the same. You've got beautiful chrome handlebars and little chrome clamp there. You've got a nice chrome surround to the key fob, and this little thing on the right here. You can have the sat-navy thing on there if you want to as an accessory, and it just looks beautiful looking out on the bike. So you do feel like you're on a nice bike when you're riding it, not just being looked at as you go by. Now it's interesting because at the moment we've got a garage full of bikes. They've all come at once. There's 3 Hondas. There's the Rebel 1100, there's the Super Cub 125, and Cross Adventure, or XADV as most people call it. It's actually a Cross Adventure. And this, and a Triumph EC1 Street Twin. And of all the bikes that I would say, which one should I take out and enjoy the most, it's this one by far. This is absolutely wonderful. A lot of bikes get refined so much that they become boring. And like I said about the art, you're looking out, it looks beautiful. A lot of bikes, they're functional, but not pretty. Some bikes are too powerful, and that I'm not particularly a speed freak. Some people are, of course, and I understand if you want a 200 brake horsepower super bike and want to go completely crazy, I can understand the thrill of that. But in the real world, I think most of us, if we're honest with ourselves, would prefer to just have a nice bike that is confidence inspiring, looks nice, sounds nice, goes nicely, does everything you want it to do without trying to rip your neck off. And with a bike like this, you're not on death's door all the time. You can just enjoy the ride and enjoy the bike you're riding on. And I can't tell you how good it is. If anyone comments, this is an advert for Royal Enfield, you're being paid for this, I'm certainly not. We don't get paid to do reviews. We give our honest opinions about the bikes that we ride. And my honest opinion about this bike is that it's one of the best bikes I've ever ridden, like I said earlier. And, you know, you want me to be honest, and I am being honest. So if you're thinking of a bike as your first bike, as an all-time bike, if you want a smaller bike, if you're downsizing, whatever your reason, I would recommend this bike extremely highly, as I would the Royal Enfield Interceptor, which also is one of the best bikes I've ever ridden. So Royal Enfield are producing some of the best bikes in the world, in my opinion, and the price is on the lower end of the scale. So they're not expensive. So what you're getting for your money is absolutely a bargain. Like the key that comes with the Royal Enfield, you've got this nice little leather key fob there. On the left of the bike, you've got a keyhole which opens up a cover, and there's a plastic thing inside where you put your manual, and you take that off and it reveals the air intake for the air filter. And on the other side, you've got another compartment. So there's no storage compartments as such, but you do have the rack as an accessory. So as I said before, this is a brilliant rack. So if you've got stuff to take, I'd recommend one of those. If you're like me and you think that the quest for speed and power has just gone too far, and I do think it has, it's nice to know that there are bikes like this around that are extremely engaging, great fun, brilliant bikes, but are not super powerful and dangerous. And you can have just as much fun on this, if not more, I think. And when you do want to thrash a bike that's less powerful, you really can get 10/10ths out of it, and it really does challenge your riding skills in a good way, and that's brilliant. So they're fun at speed, and they're fun when you're just burbling around. And the Royal Enfield Classic 350, I think, is one of the best bikes on the planet, and value for money. So if you're considering one, you're pondering over it, you think it's not going to be powerful enough, it's perfectly fine. Trust me, I've been riding bikes since I was 7 years of age, and this is definitely one of the best bikes I've ever ridden. You have a 13-litre fuel tank, and this bike will do 107 miles per gallon, so it's very fuel efficient, which is great, especially at the moment when petrol is ridiculously expensive. So get one of these, commute, better than being on the train or the bus, and so much more fun. You're free. If you've just started out in the EU or Great Britain and you've just passed your A2 licence, now we often say that, this bike is A2 compatible out of the box. If you're in America, you don't have to worry about that, because in the EU and UK, it's a bit nanny state, so we have to have these rules. But it's basically a test that restricts you to a 47 horsepower or under bike. So this falls within that, and it's a great choice. Of course, if you have a pillion, I'll demonstrate being a pillion. You've got the foot pegs, the grab rails, or you can grab the person in front. That's actually very comfortable. It's a nice seat, as is the front seat, which is a sprung seat. And it's certainly a comfortable bike. So for longer rides, you don't get saddle sore, and it is very nice. So let me know in the comments what you think about what I've said in this video. Do you agree, disagree, what have you? So hopefully you've enjoyed this one, and we'll see you on the next video.